Hi, Tobias.
Hey.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm really happy to spend some time with you today. So first thing first, how are you?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm good, thank you. I have a little bit of neck pain, but that's fine.
Was that because of head banging?
Yeah, constantly. No, I've been. Long story short, I've had just a very what do you call it? Like incapacitated time.
Okay.
I had a surgery done a month ago when I took out like 3 teeth.
Oh wow. Okay.
But surgically, like took out wisdom teeth. So I had 2 weeks of immobility when I was sort of just lying down and just taking it easy and eating or drinking. Anything I was going to eat, I was sort of drinking. And then after that, I got like a massive cold.
Oh wow.
Like
okay.
a real fever, like, so I continued eating painkillers. And now, all these weeks of inactivity, it's just like, I'm starting to feel. So I'm looking forward to getting up to physical level again.
Okay. So by chance you are with us today. So thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you.
So we're here in Paris with you because you're gonna release in few weeks a new album called Skeleta. What can we expect from this one?
It's hard to do like an elevator pitch on it. It's a new record. It's meant to be different from all the others in the same sense that all the previous records was supposed to be different from the previous one. I'm a terrible salesman. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Okay, so you the one who write everything?
I have my favorite collaborators that I usually. How it works is that over the course of time, and usually ever since I, from the moment I have one record out, and during the tour, I continue writing. I continue being creative, and some ideas I have are super like simplistically put together. A song might be one recording of me sitting at a piano, my daughter's piano, and just like,
oh nice,
ding 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 ding. And then there's another recording of me when I've come up with, if I put this chord over and this line, like the road that leads to nowhere, go down, choom. Okay, idea. Then I know.
Okay.
That's a chorus. Great.
Okay.
And then later I record an Italian horror film thing. Oh, great. This sounds like The Beyond or House by the Cemetery or something like, great.
Okay.
Fast forward a little, I get together with one of my collaborators, Max. I have this idea for a ballad. I think this is the chorus. That the road that leads to nowhere is wrong. This could be a really cool verse.
Okay.
What do you think? And then we start one.
Okay.
So that's a very common way. And sometimes I write a song from like start to finish. This is the track. But my method of writing it varies a lot, simply because I can write a song on piano. I can write a song with a vocal line first.
Okay. So there's multiple ways.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have songs written, like From the Pinnacle to the Pit. I wrote them on a bass.
Yeah. That's why the song start with the bass, right?
That's the first thing that's what I wrote.
Okay.
Yeah. and the middle of bar. It was like just a bass thing. I was just sort of training. I was just whenever I gripped the bass, I was just gonna play something that was like hard and cool and felt fun to play. And then all of a sudden, like, that's a song. That's a really cool song.
So it's
So
just a
that's-
simple way to create songs. So
Yeah.
the instrument inspired you to create parts, and then you put it together to this beautiful music that you put out since few years now. So that's
Yeah.
great.
And you know, as I said, like ideas like that, they come usually from nowhere, like just a simple thing that sparks the idea for a chorus, for an intro, for a whatever it might be, whatever part. But then, of course, comes the job of putting everything together.
Yeah.
Putting everything together, making sense of this, shaving shit off. That's also another element of that. Oftentimes when I do that, I like collaborating with others, just because it's more fun, and you also have someone in the room who can, like, you know, cheer you on when you're doing something good, but it can also, like, if it's something that just doesn't
Okay.
tickles.
What I heard over the years is that you're one of the hardest working guy in the industry. How to stay inspired while you managing all these different projects about the band?
Okay, good. I don't know. I mean, I mean, a lot of bands that I like, a lot of bands that we all grew up listening to, I feel that they were enormously productive. You know, it was very commonplace in the 80s and 70s, 60s to have one or two records out every year.
Yeah.
However, I think it's fair to go back to a lot of those records, and even though I love each record from most, like, my favorite bands, but I can go back listening to many of them and, like, okay, you have these two really good songs. This is clearly a filler. This is clearly a filler.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just my memory of that record is like, oh, it's a fantastic record through and through. But if you start, like, listening to it, and also another aspect of several big well-known bands is that, I mean, take Kiss for example.
Yeah.
For every record they made, you know, Gene would come in with 2-3 songs. Paul would come in through 3, 4, 5. Ace would come with one. Peter, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like you didn't have to produce 10 songs every time.
Okay.
So you could be productive in a completely different, made in the same way. Steve would write songs. Adrian would write songs. Bruce would write songs. So you didn't have to sit there with a massive chore of writing a record from start to finish every time.
Yeah.
You know, you could partake with 3 songs, and that would make a record. With that in mind, that said, of course, I've taken upon myself to write conceptual records. However, I do it every 3rd year.
Yeah.
So to me, having made now 6 records in 15 years is maybe productive for the time that we're in, but
Okay. Right.
but compared to Kiss or Iron Maiden, it's kind of.
But you
little.
also have this EP where you do covers, so that keeps you doing music and revisit this classic songs. So
Right.
you have the Jesus He Knows Me, this song from Phil Collins. I was like, man, I forgot this song for years now. And you put the cover, and I'm like, that's a pretty good song. And when you put it together with guitar and bass and with your voice, it's another dimension. So that keeps you creative in a way.
It does, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. If you count the recordings that we've done over the years in between records with covers, there's, of course, plenty of material. Those recordings have in turn also been inspiring and or effective, practical for the songwriting, because I think making the last one, the one with Jesus He Knows Me, was definitely one that gave me a little bit more of kick to write and make the record that I eventually made and now in Skeleta. Whereas having made some of the previous EPs with covers, where I sort of got my rocks off, if you will, with more experimental synthy songs like See Me in a Mobile Disco and stuff like that, might have quashed my desire to write a song like that myself.
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like that, but I'm just saying that sometimes it's good to sort of get an idea out and just get it out of the system, and Whereas I do believe a lot of bands in the past, the bands that did 15 records in 10 years, they basically just smeared everything they had on and just like, okay, that's 8 songs,
let's go. Yeah.
None of the bands that I mentioned, obviously, but I'm just saying in general.
In general, yeah. Okay. And now you have a lot of bands now who wearing masks and stuff. For a long time, you didn't show your face to the people. Do you think at some point you have to, as a mysterious band, to show your face to the people?
No, not really. You don't have to. You don't have to do anything. I think the what I came to at a certain point, even though there was obviously a literal process that sort of forced me to put my name onto my work, which is itself is kind of like not very strange.
Yeah.
I felt for a long time that it kind of defeats the purpose. It's a paradox, working actively towards making your band bigger and more popular whilst remaining less known.
Okay.
So for a long time it really felt like this paradoxical, like, I what are we doing? Like, why are we doing this? Like, why? I mean, because it's, maybe not so much now, but in the past, obviously you have one of the greatest examples here in France is obviously Daft Punk.
Yeah.
But people know who they are. Everybody knows who they are.
Yeah.
If you're interested in Daft Punk, you know who they are. And another band that people have often referred to when they were talking about us was like, the Residents.
Yeah.
I know that the Residents, but only fucking record collectors listen to Residents. I have their records. I like Residents, but people in general don't know what the fuck they are.
Yeah.
So that's easy. It's easy to remain anonymous if you're like this really small niche band.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are a lot of Residents fans who know exactly who they are, because that's what fans do.
But they keep the secret together.
Yeah. So I sort of gave that up. I think that a lot of fans and a lot of people around me were way more upset or more anxious about those things remaining or how to maintain that than I was, because I never felt really anonymous before.
Yeah.
Because in a micro format, I was to a certain degree known within a really, really, really niche little group of people who liked old school death metal, who knew who I was. And that group stays together. They all talk. So as soon as Ghost happened, all of them knew whom was in Ghost. And so I never felt as, before the spring of 2017, I was completely unknown, and then I became a really known person.
Okay.
I'm not a known person. Maybe a lot of people know about Ghost, but people in general do not know who I am.
Yeah. And people are gonna know more about Ghost because you involved in this very big event with Black Sabbath. How do you feel about that?
Cloven, because huge honor to be asked to to participate. I'm looking forward to seeing Black Sabbath again.
Yeah.
And of course, Ozzy. I understand that it's unclear what that will be. I'm looking forward to see all the other bands.
Yeah.
I mean, I love most of the bands that are playing are bands that I love dearly, and gotten the pleasure of getting to know over the years. I've toured with, I don't remember all of them all of whom were playing, but I remember that the ones that are bands that we toured with, and Metallica and Alice in Chains and I think that the band that I'm part of is the House Band, which also is a who's who of great musicians, and I think Tom Morello is playing. So I mean, from that aspect, I'm just trying to look at all the positives. As a lifelong Black Sabbath fan and Ozzy fan, of course it pains me.
Yeah.
To know that this is an end of an era, and that might not be like one of those sort of fake endings. It might actually be it.
Yeah.
But that is life, and I think that we've all grown accustomed to the fact that all of our heroes, our parent generation is slowly disappearing, or at least they're you're not able to experience them in real life.
Yeah.
But as long as we remember them,
yeah,
they're gonna live on forever.
Yeah. Okay. So, final question for this part of the interview: if you had the chance to meet the young Tobias from 2010, what would you say to him? What advice? Anything?
Oh, good question. 2010 is almost harder. It's because it's I was amateurish and inexperienced, but I wasn't that young at that point. My career really started when I was 29 years old.
Okay.
Which is I was just sober enough to sort of realize that now I'm getting like a great hand.
Yeah.
Late in life, if you will. I mean, I'm not trying to be ageist here, but there's this there's this concept within entertainment, of course proven wrong by especially actors, because there's tons of actors that came to be late in life. A young Morgan Freeman. Do you know like a film that he did when he was in his 30s? No,
not really.
No, but he's been like an old man in every film he's ever made.
Yeah.
Because that's what he was really good at. And so in film you can have like a completely, but in rock and music, it's success is always sort of in connection with youth. And so a 28-year-old self, possibly I would have told, like in 2008,
yeah,
like stick with it. I mean, I did, so it's like, so that's good, but maybe comforting myself a little. I think I wasted some years in my 20s thinking it was over, or that I'd lost, that I was not going to make it.
Okay.
But on the other hand, it was my ability to accept in my later part of the 20s that I might not become a rock star. And how do I live my life not achieving my dream? Because that felt, from when I was a kid, I never ever wanted to do anything else. And all of a sudden I was like, realizing that I might not become what
Yeah.
I've decided. All those ships that I burnt, all those other careers, all the lifelines that people have. Like, I had none of those. And I might have to eat the fact that what am I going to do? That's when I finally started focusing on one thing. And that was the one project, the one thing I had out of my different projects that I was feeling strongest about. And that was Ghost. If I'm going to have one hobby in my life, it should be that. I can live with that. I can live with Ghost being something that I can make a record with here and there. Maybe I can play a show every now and again. Maybe I can have that as a hobby in the rest of my life whilst working with something else.
Okay.
And that didn't turn out the way I planned it. But
that's very inspiring. Thanks for that. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there would have been any word but to my younger self, even younger self, I would have said, take it easy. Don't be angry all the time.
Okay.
It's gonna be fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.